Hi everyone. This is a brief instructional video on how to do the 6.07 assignment, the adaptable writer. Obviously you want to make sure that you're looking at the lesson pages and links before that. I'm just going to take you directly to the assignment to give you an idea of what you're doing. So I'm going to open up that assignment. It's going to pop over on this other page. I'll pull it over here in just a second. So for this assignment, it's kind of cool. You guys are going to get to rewrite an actual article. All right. So for this assignment, what you're going to be doing is you are actually going to be rewriting a news article, like a newspaper article for an online idea, and the article is actually already there for you. And I will show it to you in just a second. So you're going to use the model news story, Barefoot and Busted. So I'll show you where that is here in just a second. And you are going to adapt it for an online publication using the criteria on the online news writing checklist. So I'll also show you where that is here in just a second. So this is what you need to do. You need to reread the model news story, look at the story through the eyes of the online news editor using the criteria in the checklist provided, identify what you need to delete, alter, and add to adapt the story for an online audience. Delete what you can. This is really important, okay? So you're definitely going to be trimming it down. After the existing article, change what you need to change to make it work for an online entity. If you need to add material or make suggestions to make the story work better for an online piece, do that. You can even enhance content through bells and whistles of audience interactively through social media or other online platforms. You're going to review and polish. You're going to reread your story and use the rubric to make sure that you've covered all of its required, all that is required, okay? So if you're able, you're going to have another person read your story and give you feedback. We will not be doing peer editing on this assignment, so if you can have your brother, sister, mom, dad, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever proof for you, that would probably be a fantastic idea, okay? So the process that you're going to be doing is you are going to review the assignment instructions. You're going to read the rubric. You're going to remember to write in standard English in third person, no personal opinions. Complete the plan, begin drafting, review and revise your first draft, write your final draft, okay? So this assignment is worth 50 points. So it is kind of um, a higher point assignment that we've done in class. So you need to make sure that you are taking some time with this and completing it. Your final draft word count should be about 600 to 650. Okay, so I'm going to pause for just a second and bring up that other information. Okay, so the other thing you needed to look at was the news writing checklist. So we'll open that up. And if you look at the news writing checklist, you have writing in an active voice using active verbs. Use the present tense to give your piece a sense of immediacy. Use hyperlinks instead of narrative recaps. Construct shorter sentences and shorter paragraphs. Use bullets and subheads to avoid large blocks of text. Write headlines for favor keywords over creativity, or that favor keywords over creativity, and update your story often to retain its sense of immediacy. So this is kind of the checklist of the things that you want, all right? So as well as that, you also have the rubric that you definitely want to make sure that you're looking at. So as you open this and the rubric pops up, it's a little bit wordy, right? So you want to look at making sure that you're looking at the for area. This is an A, okay? This is an F, this is an A. So you want the story adaptation. It matches the assignment. So you have to, you can't pick another story. You have to use the story that we're giving you for the example in class. And we'll look at that in just a second. But you're using this story that has been provided to you. You're trimming print. You're omitting unnecessary facts if an online news story included a narrative recap that can be replaced by hyperlinks. All recapping has to be replaced and all of the unnecessary facts have to be omitted. So this is super important. You're going to be taking stuff out. This is to get an A. You've got to take stuff out of that first article. The story adaptation matches the assignment stated parameters for altering the text to work for online venue. Alterations include the story's voice is active whenever possible and verbs have been changed to the present tense to give this piece a sense of immediacy. Okay, so if anything that you're reading has past tense, you need to change them to present tense. And I'll give you an example here when we look at the story. Long paragraphs have incorporated bullets or subheads to break up text. Both the heading and the subheads have been rewritten to include key words. Okay, so all super important things there. Effective adaptations through additions. The story's adaptations match the assignment stated parameters for adding to the text to work for an online venue. Additions include many hyperlinks to provide the reader with more background material and subheads to break up the text to more manageable blocks of the text. So here, if you need to add hyperlinks, which you do, you want to add hyperlinks to new material, okay? So the last thing is your creativity of the social media and other online platform suggestions are that the student has made extensive and effective use of social media and other online techniques to enhance the story's presentation. Suggestions include creative uses of Facebook, Twitter, or other social media applications. The student has also suggested other online platforms such as online chats or surveys that the media outlet could host or conduct. Okay, so with that, I'm going to look really quick. I'm going to pause again for just a second and we're going to look at the actual story. All right. So obviously the story is not right here, correct? So that means you have to go back into the classroom or into the lesson to grab that story, okay? So if you click on the very first link, you're going to be able to pull up lesson resources and you are going to look, there's a model news story right here, right? So that's the model news story that you're going to be looking at, okay? And it's barefoot and busted, okay? So this is what they're talking about. So as you're reading through here, if you are coming across, we were talking about the verbs and the past tense verbs, and you want to make everything present tense. So this is something that's super important. So as you're going through and you're trying to rewrite, so let's look at the first paragraph here. So after 7 long and frustrating weeks, Homeward Police captured a so-called barefoot bandit yesterday. It took a combination of old-fashioned shoe leather and high-tech forensics to crack the case. Since May 1st, a spate of troubling bank robberies in the Homewood, Flossmoor area have vexed area law enforcement and rattled the nerves. So as you're looking through there, so rattled, vexed, those are all past tense, right? So you want to make that present tense. So you can say it continues to vex, it continues to rattle. You want to change those to present tense, right? You don't want them to be past tense. So that's what they're talking about by changing those, okay? So they're talking also about changing and adding hyperlinks. So as you go through and look at anything through the article that you feel is like, okay, well, maybe I can add a hyperlink there, or maybe I can add a little bit more information there, then that's what you're doing, right? Also, if you need to delete information, something that you're like, yeah, maybe that's not important to the article, I need to delete that. So maybe then you delete the art or delete part of the article, or you omit some pieces that are really not going to stand out and be beneficial in the online setting. Okay, so Um, this is going to be a little bit more of a difficult assignment for some of you because a lot of you like to write a lot rather than omit and write smaller amounts of information. So it's going to be super important that you really take your time and go through that checklist. And this is something that I don't necessarily think that you're going to be able to do in one sitting. I think you're going to have to kind of start through and you're going to have to go and maybe change all of the verbiage through to make it present tense. And then I think you're probably going to have to go through and maybe omit some things first, or omit first and then change the verbiage. And then maybe think about, okay, well, let me add some hyperlinks here and let me connect some different things. So I think that there's quite a few things and it's a multi-step process for you. So don't try to sit down and do this all in one setting. You're going to want to try and do this over a couple of days and give yourself a little bit of time each time you sit down to actually work on it. All right, so if you have questions, please let me know. I am actually going to, I think I'm going to link this to that assignment, to the assignment section too. That way it'll be there for you guys. So, but if you guys have any questions, please let me know. All right.